Broncos versus Rabbitohs game up at Suncorp tonight. I'll get this all set up. Game goes ahead. I hope you guys can see like reactions. That out of the way. Let's get we're obviously heading up to this first time ever. Good. Manly versus Rabbits were, I reckon, was the better game of the two. Roosters, Broncos, not so much, but we'll get to that. So, with Manly versus Rabbits, it was a quality, high-scoring game, but obviously our defence really played it up, and we led 20 points to 12 at one point in the second half, and we just fizzled out just like that. I don't understand how that happened, but overall, Manly were just too good, but it's only lost by 12 points. I'll take that. At least it wasn't 13 plus, and quite an upset it was, really, because Manly had not beaten us in 7 games since 2019, where they beat us. I think it was 13-12, I think the score was last time they beat us. And that was in 2019, Brookie, I think. But no, first game to start round 1 in Vegas as well. Great game. Obviously, there was no defence really because it was high scoring, but our defence was just terrible. Attack-wise, we were good to start off with. Manly, they just flew, no pun intended, they just flew straight for our middles. And yeah, they were the better team. It was good to see Turbo back after he suffered a pectoral injury in Origin Game 2 last year. He looked fit as ever, and I hope he can stay fit for this year. But good win for Manly, winning 36-24. Now, as for the other game, Vegas game, Roosters, Broncos. Broncos were with the Sminsor out there. They looked like they were playing on a different planet, but obviously it was a new surface. The teams had to get used to it. And, Broncos, they did okay. Obviously, they're still getting over the grand final loss after against Penrith last year, but not a good way to start for Broncos. As for the Roosters, they had a good win, but it wasn't very convincing. 20 points to 10, very scrappy for Broncos as well. But I reckon the game could have been a lot better. It was also the only free-to-air game for the Vegas games. Both were on Fox League, and K8, but the Roosters Broncos game was free to air, and that's not a good way to show your viewers that watch it on like Channel 9 and stuff. But anyway, the 2 Vegas games, very successful. Las Vegas in general was amazing. Can't wait till how it goes for next year and what 4 teams will go. I reckon the 4 teams that will go, will be the Warriors, the Panthers, the Raiders, and I think the Cowboys as well. So 1 from each part in the NRL. So 1 from the ACT, 1 from New Zealand, 1 from New South Wales, and 1 from, I said Warriors, Raiders, Cowboys. I need to see, Penrith, that's whatever. But yeah, I hope it'll be just as better. And the people that turned out, 40,000, I think there was like 15,000, 16,000 of them from Australia that went. It was just too good. But anyways, now we move on to the rest of round 1. It started in Australia. Raiders with a upset win against Newcastle up there in Newcastle on Thursday last week. 28-12. Raiders' first 13-plus win since 2022. I must say, Raiders were very impressive in that game. But Knights were very disappointing. Everyone except for the Raiders fans tipped for the Knights to win. And they were so they got the first try, and then they just slid down. I expected better for Newcastle, but wow. 28-12, and they were the favourites as well. Speaking of that, 6 of the 8 games had the outsiders winning, and the first 3 had the outsiders won. Unbelievable. I expected better from Newcastle. Yeah, the next game was the rivalry game. The Eels... No, sorry. It was the Panthers and the Storm first, down there at Amy Park. That was Saturday, Eagles Bulldogs. Yeah, very old scrappy game, 8-0. Melbourne's winning streak continues for round 1. Now, I think they are now 22 under Craig Bellamy now. 22 round 1 wins. Very impressive. And to hold the Panthers scoreless, I mean, not to mention the three-peat premiers, I mean, would have been good if it was only the premiers, but three-peat premiers who won the last 3 years, the most dominant team in the last 4 years. That's just unreal. I mean, credit the Melbourne's defence. It was excellent. Penrith lost in the World Club Challenge in controversial fashion. Now, obviously, they should have got a try, but it was not enough. So Penrith were very quiet in that game against Melbourne, but good on Melbourne for a scrappy defensive game. Wasn't the worst game I've seen, obviously, but I've seen worse than that, low scoring before. But this is the second time as well that Penrith have been held scoreless against Melbourne. Now, last time I believe they were held scoreless was against Melbourne again. They lost 16-0 in 2022 towards the end of that year. Now we move on to Eels Bulldogs. Eels a sellout, but the game didn't live up to it. Eels were too good against the Dogs. I mean, Eels, Bryce Cartwright in particular, scoring 2 tries. Don't see a second row scoring 2 tries in the same game that often. But wow, he was the best player in that match by a long shot. Overall, great performance by the by the Eels. That's one of the 2 games I got correct, and they were the favourites. And that's for the Dogs. They didn't really play in that game. I mean, you got all these new players, mainly utilities, that have been signed, like Kurt Mann, Drew Hutchinson, Blake Taff, and Bronson Xerri is also back in the NRL for the first time in 4 years, but he didn't even play. I think that was just disgrace. They didn't play, but Stephen Crichton as new captain, and the Penrith, former Penrith player, he's at the Dogs. Yes. Interesting. I don't see the Dogs doing particularly good for the first few rounds, but wow, that had an awful performance in that game. And the other Saturday game, one I was not expecting to be high scoring, be good, but Dragons flogging the Titans, 28-4. Now, obviously both teams finished in the bottom 4 last year. Dragons finished lower than the Titans. I expected Titans would be a bit better than that, but obviously they got 4 was ruled out before the game. Campbell and David Fafita is also currently out injured, not due back till round 3, 4, 5, one of them rounds. But wow, Titans were just shocking in that game in front of their home faithful. But I mean, the Dragons as well. Such a great performance from the Dragons. I mean, Tyrell Sloan getting a hat-trick. I mean, criticised him in the Charity Shield. But wow, he played an outstanding game. Zach Lomax, he hates it being on the wing, but I reckon he had a great game. He even scored a try of his own as well. But good on the Dragons. I mean, everyone had them finishing in the bottom 4 or in one spoon. Yours truly included. But what a performance that was. I mean, don't count out the Dragons yet. Obviously, that was only against the Titans, but they're playing the Dolphins this week, and we'll get to the Dolphins in a sec, but they couldn't make a statement against the Dolphins. Now we move on to the last game. Cowboys-Dolphins up there at Suncorp on Sunday. Now, a good friend of mine by the name of Nick, who is a Cowboys supporter and my co-host for the Corner Post podcast that we do on his channel on Tuesdays. Make sure you go check it out if you haven't yet. He had a magnificent time there. He lost his fucking voice, starting up all the Cowboys chants, going Cowboys, Cowboys. I mean, good on him. At least he had a great time there. And if you haven't checked out his vlog, make sure you go check it out. It's a high quality vlog. But as for the Cowboys' performance overall, I expected them to be good. Honestly, scoring 43 points, sorry. I was not expecting that scoreline. They were too good for the Dolphins. I mean, went try for try in the first 10 to 15 minutes. But then Cowboys just clicked like that, and they kept the They kept the Dolphins pretty much tryless in the first, almost the second half. But wow, great performance for the Cowboys. As for Dolphins, I mean, they won their first game ever against the Roosters last year in round one. Now it's the complete opposite. If they're going to be like this for the year, oh boy, they're in a lot of trouble. Now, they've made some few changes as well with the game against the Dragons coming up on Sunday at KO Stadium. But, wow, Dolphins were just... I think the Dolphins and the Knights were both most disappointing teams to watch overall for round one. I know, yes, the Titans only scored 4 points and Penrith didn't score nothing, but I reckon they were both the most disappointing teams overall. But anyways, that was my quick recap for round one, and I will now I'm not going to say who's in my team, in my round one team of the week, but I will show you who it is. It will say the fullback, wingers, centers in 1 to 17, 1 to 13, and for the interchange from 14th to 17th player, like, or interchange 1 through 4, it will go in order like that. That's who I reckon were the best players. If you agree or disagree with it, comment down below. It's also just my opinion. It's also the first time I've done this. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys will enjoy this video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I will see you all in the next one. But anyways, enjoy my team, my round one team, my round one team of the team of the week. All right, enjoy.